So, what's with all the influencers these days? We might be living during the best possible time to be on the internet, while simultaneously also living during the worst possible time to be on the internet. Let me explain. It wasn't really too long ago where the idea of making money online was associated almost exclusively with scams or some grift involving Nigerian princes. With the rise of YouTube in the late 2000s and its boom in the early 2010s, the concept of internet personalities and digital content creators began to take hold. And we're not just talking your random cat videos or your Charlie Bit My Finger-esque home video clips, but individual creatives with their own unique voice creating their own original scripted content. Then the YouTube Partnership Program entered the chat. Money, 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 allowing creators to share in ad revenue with the platform. This not only legitimized digital creation as a valid source of income, but a lucrative one at that. And as this career option started to look like an actual option, and pay like one, thank God, the digital creation landscape just grew bigger and bigger. More social media platforms were created and made accessible to the world, free of charge. Traditional media began to shake in its boots as young people ditched their cable boxes for smartphones, a Google account, and a half-decent Wi-Fi connection. And as these social media platforms rose to prominence, so did plenty of its users. With so many people now online and able to upload their own photos and videos, there was a vast sea of diverse content to explore. Comedy, lifestyle, beauty, cooking, there was something for everyone. And everyone was online, young and old alike. So it didn't take long before the corporate bigwigs decided to start exploring this new realm of rising internet celebrities to have their products promoted. And so began the age of the influencer. So obviously this is nothing new, unless you've been living under a rock for the last 15 years. Which, if you were, was the rock hollow, or did you dig under the rock? Which in that case, is it really that you're living under a rock more so than you're living underground? I have never loved this phrase. YouTube has been around for almost 2 decades now, and people have been monetizing their content online in one form or another for almost just as long. But doesn't it feel like there's a lot more? And not only that, these online personalities are being seen offline, like in the real world. Sure, you're seeing plenty more influencers in the wild recording content in public to varying degrees of public disturbance.
Oh, it's not all right.
But you're on my live stream, I want to see you.
Well, you move then.
But I'm talking bigger than that. Influencers are everywhere. Fashion week, red carpets, even award shows for traditional media. In the last 4 years, internet influencers have become more pervasive than they have ever been. It seems so commonplace now, but not even 4 years ago would you be regularly seeing internet comedians and lifestyle bloggers getting invitations to the Oscars or the Golden Globes. But why? As per usual, COVID and TikTok are always at the scene of the crime. With film and television production halted and theaters closed for most of 2020, people were relying almost exclusively on social media to feed their entertainment fix. I don't think there's ever been a point in time where that many people were all online at the same time. Just 8 billion chronically online besties in the internet trenches together. And I don't think we can overstate just how lucky TikTok was to be the newest platform on the block right when everyone was looking for something fresh to pass the time between figuring out how Skype fumbled the bag so hard and trying to track down toilet paper and feta cheese at a grocery store within a 5-mile radius. What a time. Damn, am I the only one that has this weird nostalgia for internet culture at the beginning of the pandemic? I think I may have developed Stockholm Syndrome for April 2020. Anyway, the pandemic completely changed our viewing habits. More people were watching social media than ever before, debatably more so than traditional TV and film. And this truly affected the way companies had to look at how they were advertising their products. With all these eyes glued to TikTok, they knew they had to set their sights there as well. But TikTok isn't cable. Commercials typical of cable networks wouldn't work there, not only because of the vertical format, but because it's primarily Gen Z on TikTok, and they will not waste a second dragging anything that smells even remotely inauthentic or like a brand trying and failing to understand what they like.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
No. The ads had to be authentic to the platform, which at the time, as a fairly new platform with a sudden influx of millions of users, was hard to specify. But with plenty of rising stars on the app setting the tone for what TikTok was to be, why not just get them to promote the products? And at a fraction of the cost of a high-budget commercial shoot, but that's a story for another day. Wow, am I interesting? Is this video interesting? Am I learning something? TikTok's meteoric rise in popularity led to many of its users blowing up on the platform at speeds that honestly had never been seen before. You had people gaining tens of thousands of followers in less than a day. And TikTok's more laid back, natural, run and gun style compared to YouTube's expected production value and Instagram's more polished aesthetic made it so that your average Joe with an iPhone and the slightest ounce of self-deprecating humor could gain a huge following.
I'll pay for my order with my American Express Platinum card.
It's me. I'm Joe. I'm the average Joe in question. Yes, I was one of the many influencers, I hate that word, who got their start on TikTok right at the start of the pandemic. I hit 10,000, oh my God. Unprofessional. I hit 10,000 followers in my first week, posting what I thought were just stupid little skits. But it quickly grew beyond my control. I gained 1 million followers in less than 3 months and another 1 million after that. I started YouTube in 2022 and have gained almost 700,000 subs with shorts alone. Thanks, guys. You rock. And as someone who never dreamed of being a social media influencer at any point in my life before it kind of just happened, I still can't really process, any of it. I have an English degree. I was supposed to go to school to become a middle school teacher before the pandemic completely changed the trajectory of my life. This shit doesn't feel real sometimes. It's weird looking back at it, even now. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I've been invited to really cool parties and movie premieres, worked with some really cool partners for brand deals. I've been flown out for brand trips, and I've been able to meet plenty of amazing creators. I even got signed to a modeling agency. Y'all think I'm pretty? Wow. I've also been able to use social media as a launch pad for my other projects, specifically my career in filmmaking that I also started focusing on around the same time I started posting to TikTok. I've written and directed a handful of short films, and I even have a TV series in development. But this was the reality for so many other people like me, and with thousands of creators with followings ranging from 10,000 to 10 million, brands were ready to work with them to promote their products. Suddenly, your next-door neighbor who just learned how CapCut worked was making 5 to 6 figures in brand deals. If YouTube made digital content monetization a possibility, then TikTok made it an even more achievable reality. I mean, if your brother, sister, best friend can do it, why can't you? And that is why we are currently in the age of the influencer, even more so than YouTube and Instagram in the mid-2010s. Not just because there are more people eager to make an effort to produce content both part-time and full-time, but because brands and companies are taking social media accounts seriously when it comes to ad space, and are investing significantly more money in social media advertisement than they ever have before. Which means there has never been a better time to make money on the internet. See, I made it back to that point from the beginning. With all that considered, it makes sense that now is the time we're seeing more internet personalities transcend the internet. There are plenty of people who even now, after theaters are open and productions are back in full swing, are more familiar with TikTokers than A-list Hollywood actors. So what's the point in discussing literally any of this? Well, besides forcing you to listen to my borderline incoherent ramblings for X number of minutes, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the best time to be on the internet. But it might also be the worst. You see, I have this love-hate relationship with online internet influencing. I don't even personally like using the word influencer to describe me. I would generally use content creator when discussing my online creation career. Influencer is just too broad of a term, almost too all-encompassing. And that's one of the biggest issues, because despite the huge strides and legitimacy digital creation has had in the last decade or so, it still hasn't fully shaken its negative stigma. I'd almost argue that TikTok's surge in popularity may have actually reinforced the stigma in a lot of ways. The more something becomes entrenched in public consciousness, the more open it is to scrutiny. There's certainly a connotation present in the word influencer. Plenty of people consider influencers to be talentless, vapid, shallow attention seekers willing to do and say anything to make a quick buck. Ahem. And as influencers become more pervasive outside of the internet and find themselves exposed to those outside of the followings they've cultivated for themselves, the stigma is only exacerbated. I made the mistake of going on Twitter and seeing a handful of influencers who were asked to do red carpet and press junket interviews ask the most unprofessional, unserious questions. A TikToker on the red carpet of the People's Choice Awards straight up asked Academy Award nominated actress America Ferrera,
Gay son or thought daughter?
Sorry?
Pick one, gay son or thought daughter.
my brother in Christ, are you okay? What happened to shame? I think we have lost the plot, people. We have lost the plot. It is gone. Now, while I'm sure there are some influencers who do fit this vapid and shallow description, I certainly wouldn't say that applies to all of them. Plenty of content creators are very dedicated to the work that they do. Now, I'm also not going to sit here and say that content creation is the hardest job in the world, because it's not. Most of us are self-employed, get to set our own flexible hours, be creative for a living, and are pretty well compensated for it. But the job isn't necessarily easy, though. Creating content regularly and keeping a social media account active and engaging and fresh takes a lot of dedication as well. But the connotation that TikTokers and YouTubers are talentless very much downplays just how much actual talent is overflowing in the digital creator space. And as someone who began filmmaking before I became an influencer, I've experienced firsthand just how difficult it can be to be taken seriously as a creative when the negative connotation surrounding influencers seems to supersede my actual abilities as a filmmaker in people's eyes. Another downside to the age of the influencer: saturation. Because content creation is so much more accessible now, everyone is doing it, which is great. But it also makes it harder from a career standpoint. A larger pool means more competition, not just for brand deals and monetization opportunities, but even just for eyes on your content. You're competing for engagement with a growing number of people every single day. Newer accounts pop up and can take the all-powerful algorithm by storm for months, while your tried and true account may plateau for just as long. For no reason. Is my content bad all of a sudden? Am I a failure? Am I an industry plant that's finally run its course? Maybe. Or maybe the algorithm is broken. Or maybe it's working exactly the way it was supposed to. I could actually go insane thinking about this. The algorithm can go kick rocks. Fall off is an inevitable part of the online world.
I am inevitable.
Not every day is going to be record highs, but that doesn't make it any less defeating. My TikTok account was at its highest of heights in the summer of 2021, and I don't know if I'll ever see numbers like that again. Not bitter about it or anything. This was the time where I was posting at least 4 times a week, and I could guarantee a video would get over 1 million views in the first 24 hours. Let's just say that those numbers aren't a surefire thing anymore. The need to keep up with a constantly evolving landscape while still staying relevant can also lead to burnout. Me and burnout? We're like this. So with all that being said, for better or for worse, we are living in the age of the internet influencer. And from the looks of things, we'll be in this age for quite some time. Even though the fates of some social media platforms are up in the air, there will be a new one to come and take its place. Social media has succeeded in democratizing distribution. Anyone can upload the content that they want, and the power is in the hands of the people to watch what they like. And for that reason, it's here to stay, as are the influencers. If you identify as an influencer or a content creator, or you want to become one, now is your time. It's insane that we live at a time where getting paid to be creative in your own way is such an attainable possibility. So take advantage of it, but make sure you're doing something you love. It makes it easier and more fun. And that is exactly why I think I'm going to be doing more of these video essay style videos. In addition to having been writing since I was a kid, graduating with a degree in English literature, and currently writing for film and TV, I'm also a highly opinionated piece of shit. But I love doing this, and that's what matters. Pop culture is my bread and butter, so I'll probably be focusing a lot on that as it relates to film and TV and entertainment and all that jazz. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little tirade. I don't know if any of what I said is new to you, but it definitely has been something on my mind, and I'm glad I was able to put it into words. See, kids, writing essays is useful after high school. Anyways, please subscribe if you haven't already, and let's continue this discussion in the comments. I'm curious to hear what you all think about the age of the internet influencer. I've been Tope. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Oh, my hand. Oh. Go subscribe. Go do it.